Walgreens is refusing to sell the abortion pill in 21 states despite that it is legal. The state of Florida is proposing a 6-week ban on abortion. Women's reproductive rights are being decimated, and religious rights are being ignored. Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Dr. David. So, we find ourselves in a situation where we continue to see that women's rights to have control over their own bodies are being decimated. It's being lowered. That is just what's happening across the country right now. Some people may agree with it. Some people may not. Now, I, of course, want to keep my comments on the health, education, and choice, science-based information that I will be sharing. But, of course, healthcare policy is part of this as well. And, of course, when decisions are being made by corporations or by governments, that's impacting healthcare policy. Now, first of all, I do want to express that I have complete sympathy and understanding for people who feel that abortion is wrong under all circumstances. I realize that this is mostly religious based, and of course, faith and belief in one's religion is an important thing to many people, and I get that, okay? However, I also recognize that a lot of people who feel most strongly about religion feel strongly about religious freedom, okay? And here's the issue. This is not part of everybody's religion. Okay. In fact, the majority of Americans, a strong majority, 60%, believe that abortion should be legal in at least some, if not most, situations. So this is a conflict amongst our society. And here's the thing on the religion side. In Judaism, life doesn't begin at conception. Life does not begin when a particular organ is formed and functioning. Life begins at the first breath. Okay. So that is what I was taught. That is what other people believe. Okay. Now, I do want to actually put a quote here that if this is kind of like what our teaching is. Until birth, the fetus is considered a physical part of the pregnant individual's body, not yet having life of its own or independent rights. Restricting an abortion to a Jewish person is refusing her religious rights. Okay. So let's be fair. Do we need to be taking care of other people's religious rights? Should we be impeding what one person's religious practice can be because of another? Or should this be an individual decision based upon an own person's religious thought process and what they believe is right for them? And that's kind of where I stand. Okay, now, here's an important question. Is this an issue where there is compromise on? And I realize that for some people out there, there is no compromise here whatsoever, okay? But that's not most people. So let's talk more about this. All right. Now, one of the issues that's in the news right now is what's been happening with Walgreens. Okay. So there's a legal abortion pill. In fact, medicated abortion as opposed to surgical abortion. By far, the oral pill is the most commonly used form of terminating a pregnancy in America. Back in the old days, people used to have surgical procedures. Of course, they're still done now under other circumstances, but this is the most common way that it is done, okay? Now, there's 21 different states who are proposing this. Now, in Florida and some of these other states, abortion is legal. In Florida, it's legal until 15 weeks. So here is Walgreens taking themselves into their own hands and not even following along what a law is, but because the Attorney General of Florida and the Attorney General of these 21 other states are complaining about it. That's why they made this policy change. So Walgreens, they are not allowing people to practice. They're supposed to be healthcare providers, right? They are not providing a medical treatment that an individual's doctor has prescribed for them. Personally, I think that this is very wrong. There's nothing illegal about what these individuals want to be doing here in Florida. Okay, now, as far as this, now, I do ask, under what other circumstance would a person's belief in their religion stop another person from doing something? Now, for instance, in Judaism, as you may know, many people choose not to eat pork. Okay, insulin is derived from pork. In Judaism, we're not told don't take insulin derived from pork, from pigs, because it's part of health care. And so there's an override there. Okay. Certainly if Judaism had said, no, thou shalt not take insulin, I'd have a problem with that too. So this isn't just playing against one religion or another. This is just my assessment of what the bigger picture is. Now, Other pharmacies have yet to comment on this, so we do not know how widespread this will be. But of course, there is a significant concern amongst many people that there may be no access soon to illegal medical treatment. Now, in addition to that, I want to talk about what the potential implications are here. Now, of course, in some areas of Florida and or in other states, in rural communities, there may not be more than one pharmacy. There may only be a Walgreens. And it could be very far distance for a person to go to travel if they wanted to get this, if there was another pharmacy somewhere for them to get it. Okay. And travel alone. Not everybody has a car. Not everybody has transportation. Some people may be able to get close to take a bus nearby, but they can't necessarily, or get a friend to drive them, but they couldn't necessarily drive 4 towns over or 50 miles away in order to get their prescription filled. Okay. Now, in addition to that, a person would have to take off, would potentially, if they had to then undergo a surgical abortion, which of course is still legal, that would potentially be putting them under risk because, of course, any type of surgical procedure, especially when there is one involving blood loss, there is the potential for those complications. Right, so a person may be put under may be forced to do a surgical procedure that they don't want to do because of the lack of availability of the medication itself. Okay. Now, in addition to that, they would have to take off time to go and travel, take off work to go do the procedure in the first place. And again, maybe that's not nearby either. Maybe they have to travel far to do that. They may not be logistically able to do that. Okay. Not only would they may have to take off time from work, but they may have to take off additional time to, if they have to travel far, to take care of their children, get their kids to school, to take care of other things in the family, other types of responsibilities that they may have. Okay. And of course, another concern would be, might they seek out a counterfeit product, a foreign product, a product that doesn't go under the same level of regulation that we would be getting from a pharmacy? Maybe the people, Walgreens hasn't been aware of this. Maybe the people who are pushing for these things, the attorneys general pushing for this, aren't aware of this. But there are unintended consequences, and these are just some of them. Okay, now, if you want, you can file a complaint to Walgreens. Okay, for that matter, you can make a comment to Walgreens whether you agree with their policy or don't. Obviously, I'm not telling you want only people who should, only the complainers and the disagree should do this. If you appreciate their Walgreens policy, by all means, send them a message too. But it's really easy to contact them because I did it myself last night. 1-800-WALGREENS, press number 5. You can and the people on the phone there, they take down what you do and they submit it to the administration. Now, where does that go? I don't know. But also, if you just look up under contact for Walgreens, you can see that there's a formal form that you can fill out as well. So if this is something that impacts you, let it be known. Our voice may be the only thing that lets the way we want it to be known. Okay. Now let's talk about the Florida ban. Okay. So this new bill, if it goes through, so of course not all bills are passed. Okay. But if it does go through, then there would be then abortion after 6 weeks would be illegal. Now, this isn't just a hypothetical thing because Governor DeSantis has already said that if such a bill was put on his desk, he would sign it. That makes the likelihood, considering what the legislation is made up of in Florida, and certainly supporters of Governor DeSantis, there's a real good likelihood that this is going to happen here. Okay? Now, do you know that gestation, that's the 40 weeks of, a full term is considered a 40-week gestation. But did you know that the first 2 weeks of gestation, the first technical 2 weeks of pregnancy, a woman is not even pregnant because the gestational clock starts the last day of the first day of the last period. And of course, a woman's not ovulating at that point. She's not fertile. She can't be fertilized at that point because there's no egg. It takes 2 weeks. Right? And then a couple of days for the actual insemination to take place. So that means a woman would have a positive beta HCG, a positive pregnancy test, for less than 4 weeks before they could do anything about it if they chose to do so. Okay? That's really uncommon. Most people do not know that they are pregnant that early. Maybe they may notice that they skipped a period, but let's face it, a lot of people don't necessarily have routine every 4-week periods. And they might say, I'm just a little late now. They wouldn't necessarily check. So that's really where part of this challenge is. So how, in my opinion, this is such a non-sustainable thing to call this a 6-week, because you might as well ban it all together for that matter. I mean, I don't advocate for that, but is this close to what that is? Okay. Now, let me know what your thoughts are about this too. Okay, now we appreciate comments here. But of course, we insist that you keep it kind. I want to hear from you. I want to know why you feel that these are good or these are bad policies. Okay. But if there's anything vile, we're not going to stand for that, and we're not going to keep that up on our thing. But we can disagree without being disagreeable. But I do think that part of a healthy society is having an open dialogue to see where there are areas that people can come to an agreement, that maybe that there could be some type of middle ground. And again, I realize that for some people there is no middle ground, but for most of us there is. Anyways, thanks for giving a listen. Share your thoughts, share this with other people. This is a really important topic to be discussed right now. Have a nice day.